Hello everybody, my name's Jane and I'm the Cornish Knitter, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, please do like and subscribe so that you can catch future episodes. And if you've been with me for a while, thank you so much for just bearing with me, listening along to my whittering away about my knitting, my yarn shop, and just generally around the knitting community and sharing some of my thoughts. So welcome everybody, and here we go. So today, last time I came on, we'd reached that major milestone of 5,000 followers. And a little bit later on in today's episode, I will share how I went about picking the comment winner. It was a completely random process, but I thought it would be interesting for you to see how that's done, because I know on the other side of it, I've always wondered, how do you actually do that? How do you create a winner out of all of those comments? And I think we had somewhere like 270 odd comments about the knitting community, and as I said, I'm going to share the winner a bit later, and I'm also going to just talk about some of the words that came out and what we're going to do with that information as well. So I thought that might be something that you might be quite interested in, but that will come a little bit later on. So here I'm based in Falmouth in the UK, which is in the county of Cornwall, and as we approach the sort of festive period, it's been a funny old time here in the shop. We have had, so last week our whole Wi-Fi, internet, everything went down on Monday, completely outed across all the businesses in Falmouth from BT, which is our provider here. And so we had nothing. We had no till, we had no internet, we had no computer to check anything, our phone was down, and cut a long story short, we still haven't got it back 8-9 days later, and for 4 of those days battling with BT about what was happening, and a big shout out and thank you to my brother-in-law Si, who patiently sat on the phone with BT every day, just trying to get some answers from them about when it was coming back. And always it was manana, you know, it will be back tomorrow, and you'd be like, yeah, okay, we can return to normal, it will be back tomorrow. So yeah, and we still haven't got it back, and we had to be closed for 4 days. And anybody that's worked in retail or can appreciate how devastating that is for a retail business in the build up to Christmas, when you are thinking that actually this is your prime time to connect with customers, obviously, and sort of shore up the business for those sorts of January month, when it's always, you know, people are quite naturally quite cautious about visiting shops and going out and spending money. So Christmas is where you sort of make enough money to cover you over those difficult times going into January and February. And we've had to be shut for part of that. The Wi-Fi provider suggested we used our hotspots on our phone. Great suggestion, except that we don't get a signal in the shop because these buildings are really old. We've got no signal, so we're reliant on Wi-Fi. So we couldn't use that method, and in the end I had to go out and buy a proper temporary router and pay out quite a bit of money to actually get us operational again, because we couldn't afford to stay closed for any longer. So yeah, it's been a difficult time. Our phone's still out, you know, trying to appease customers who are trying to get hold of us, or wondering why they can't come into the shop, or saying that we can only take cash because we couldn't, and then we, you know, trying to process orders and everything. It's just been a nightmare. Fortunately, with the router, temporary router, we're back sorted temporarily, but with still no sort of Wi-Fi. So come on, BT, if you're listening, get your finger out, get us sorted, because yeah, I think it is unacceptable. So yeah, it's been quite challenging. And then the post, you know, you go, all our parcels go out. We try and turn them around within 24 hours. Anybody places an order, our sock club subscriptions, you know, when we've said we're going to send them out, we try and get them out as quickly as we can. But what happens is that this time of year, parcel delivery services get a bit overwhelmed. You know, this time of year happens every year. People post lots of parcels, do lots of orders. But we know that our local post office, they're brilliant. They're brilliant with us, but you know, they're overwhelmed with people. The queues are enormous. We've got a drop and go service, but the queues are enormous. And you know, people are sort of saying, oh, my parcel's not arrived, and you're, you know, just trying to track it for them, and you know it's in the system, but yeah, it's taken a bit longer than it should. So it's to say it's been a challenging lead up to Christmas is just an understatement. But our customers have been lovely. They have been absolutely lovely and very understanding. And anybody that has ordered from us and is waiting, everything that we've got ordered is dispatched within 24 hours. We can sort of assure you of that. However, you know, we don't know how long it might sit in the post office before they even dispatch it from there because of the volume of parcels that they've got. But we can track it for you. If it ultimately doesn't turn up, we can track those parcels for our customers. So yeah, I'm not quite feeling the Christmas spirit at the moment. It's just been sort of, let's get through this period of time, and just looking forward really to that sort of hectic period being over. And then January is spent, the early part of January we're closed for a few days right at the start, doing a whole stock take of all of this beautiful yarn, but we need to know what we've got in stock. And then planning really for 2024, and we've got lots of plans for 2024 here in the shop. You know, building on our sock club, doing a lot more knit-alongs, building that knitting community that we had crowdfunding for, or some crowdfunding for. And thank you if any of you did sort of support us through that, and hopefully you've got all your rewards in the post because they went off really quickly. But yeah, we're going to be sort of doing that next year, sort of planning what we're going to stock and how we're going to do things. So I love that period of time. I love that sort of, let's sit down, and actually I'm by nature a planner. And when I've done a lot of those psychosymmetric testing, I'm very much a completer finisher in my nature. You know, I like to get things done. I'm not necessarily a sort of ideas person, but what I can do is take, somebody else can come up with an idea and I can take it and make it work. You know, I can think through the processes, and I'll always, whether it's successful or not, I'll always get it to the point that we can say we've done it at least and tried it. So that's next year. So I'm quite looking forward to that period of time and that downtime, just to get some headspace around the craziness that is leading up to Christmas. And yeah, we know this Saturday is the last proper Saturday Christmas shopping for lots of people, so we know we'll be really busy and it'll be lovely to see everybody. And we just hope that the tills and the temporary router and everything is working, because it'll be a nightmare if it's not. I'm sure it will be. I'm going to stay positive. I'm also quite a positive person, very much a glass half full person when I look at life. I don't know about you guys, but I always try and, in any situation, try and pull the positives out of it, because otherwise there is so much going on in the world at the moment that is so difficult to deal with. And I try and focus on the things that I have I use a model which is about your centre of control, and those things that I have direct control over, I feel that I can focus on those things, and sort of those big things that I have no control over, then park them a little bit, because it would overwhelm you otherwise. So that's where I am. What I wanted to show you today is I've got a few finished objects to show you. Some are shop samples, some are things that I've just been knitting for my own sort of pleasure. I've been knitting, as I've said before, I've been knitting so much for the shop, so many samples for the shop. I just wanted a couple of projects that were just for me, just really simple palette cleansers that are like in between the shop knits. And I will show you those a little bit later. But finished objects, I promised that last time that I would show you the Aster Shaw, which was part of the last knit along. Last time I wore the Erissimum shawl by Celine Fainton, but this one here is the Aster Shawl by Natasha Hornby. Fran knitted this as part of our Knitalong. Anybody that joined us will have met Fran online on our live sessions, and she's done a beautiful job. And it is such a lovely, lovely shawl. It's a crescent shaped shawl. I'm just gonna pop it back around my neck because it's a bit chilly in here. Yeah, so it's a crescent shaped shawl, and it's knitted, it's a 4-ply pattern. A little bit of mosaic work here, not a lot. So you can see that there's a little bit of mosaic work there. And then there's this lovely sort of repeat aster flower pattern, which gives you a scalloped edge at the finish. It's knitted in amble yarn, and some blue face Leicester from Blacker Yarns as well. And it's lovely, really nice. And I know a number of you have got your own version of the Aster shawl, and I'm really pleased to have it around my neck today because it's, as I said, it's pretty gold. So that is one of the things that's knitted up on our, in terms of a finished object, but it's not mine, it's Fran's finished object, but I thought you'd like to see it. And another one that Fran has done for us, because she does knit some of our samples for us in the shop, and she's brilliant at colour work, and I thought I would show it to you because it's always nice to see things knitted up. And she knitted for us, we had a new yarn coming in from Telling Yarns, which is this yarn over here, and it's a 4-ply from Telling Yarns, Beth at Telling Yarns, called Resolute, and we got it in some stunning colours, and I wanted a colour work sweater knitted up, and Fran knitted this up for us. In fact, if I go and stand back a little bit, so hopefully you can sort of see that. This is the Game of Croquet by Rachel Ilsley, and it is an all-over colour work, and what we decided, and Fran added a variegated rib, which I actually really like in the design. I really think that adds to this pattern. It's not in the original pattern, but Fran added it. And what I was looking for is a very sort of neutral piece of colour work, which faded from the lighter fade through to the darker at the bottom. So she's knitted it in, these were the colours that I picked out, those 3 colours from Beth's palette. I think there's, goodness me, Beth has got, I want to say about 40 different colours, but so that's the base, which is the Resolute in the natural. Resolute is 50% Blue Face Leicester, 30% Romney, 15% Massam, sorry, and 5% Swart Balls. So that's natural. Excuse me. And this one here is Pantalemon. I probably said that completely wrong. If I hold it up, you can see all those beautiful colours. It's sort of a greeny, bluey, and that's that top bit there that you can see. And then the final one is Dream Fire, which is this darker version of that one, really. So like a fade. So again, blues, greens, sort of foresty. It reminds me of almost like a pine forest. You know, you get blue pines, don't you, as well as the sort of brighter green ones. So yeah, so she sort of talked to me about the knit. I think it came up slightly, and she's very diligent about doing gauge, you know, a gauge square, but it did come up slightly smaller, hence why I haven't got it on actually, because it's great as a shop sample, because it's a small size and we don't use up an awful lot of our stock to actually create it, but it is just slightly clipped on me, more clipped than I would probably like it to be. We've just employed a new member of staff in the shop called Nusha, and she's ultra slim. I mean, she's in her mid-20s, she's ultra slim, and she's, just because it's cold in the shop, when she's in, she puts on some of our samples and they all look fabulous on her, and because they're all small sizes, they all fit her. And yeah, she like pops these things on, you think that's what it's meant to look like, and then I put it on, I think actually, no, I'd have probably knitted the bigger size. And Fran sort of, when we talked about it, she said it's actually come up a bit smaller. So if you are interested in knitting this, because it is all over colour work, and it's really thick because it's all over colour work, probably should show you the inside of it. So the floats are done beautifully inside. Yeah, just because it is all over colour work, it is obviously like a double thickness, so it's ultra warm, ideal for in this shop today. So that was another finished object. Then we have a lot in the shop. We have a lot of fluff, and I'm just trying to see, am I in front of it? Probably I'm sitting right in front of it, and it's sort of here, and then there's some up here as well on this level. So we have a lot of either Surrey alpaca or mohair silk, or you know, derivatives of fluff. And quite often people sort of fall in love with the skein and then they don't know what to do with it. So we have been knitting up some bits and pieces that just sort of showcase what you can do with just one skein of beautiful yarn. So I knitted up a Sophie scarf. No, it's a shawl, not the scarf, it's a shawl. So this Sophie scarf, this is the medium size. So if I show you what length that is, those of you, I can't believe there's many people that haven't knitted a Sophie scarf or shawl. So it's sort of long enough to wrap around your neck twice. I knitted it out of, and I wanted to show you. So that's all I've got left. So this is from Lay Family Yarns, this one. Forgive me, I can't remember the colourway, but I will put it in my notes. That's all I've got left of a 50-gram skein. I think there was 300 metres in the skein. And then I just used an undyed sock yarn cream as its base. And I just wanted to show people in the shop what sort of effect you could get by just putting what is a lovely sort of one-off skein of mohair together with just a plain skein of yarn. And this is so beautifully soft, it is so snuggly. So, you know, you could take this one, this is a different one, but say for example this one, and put it with a pale pink or a cream or something and get a really lovely effect. Or you could get one of the brighter ones which are up here. And I just thought it was a useful thing to show people, because not everybody can imagine what they could do with just one skein. And people like to buy them as gifts. They fall in love with them and they're like, then what do I do with it? And sometimes you don't want to buy, you know, a sweater's quantity. So it's just, and this was the medium shawl, and you could see what I had left. I think probably, and that was 100 grams and that was 50 grams. I think probably if I'd wanted to, I could have knitted the large size, gone on, but I didn't really want to play yarn chicken too much. I'd made a decision half, you know, at the turning point, the broadest part. I thought, no, I won't risk. I weighed it and I thought I won't risk running out because it would spoil the look of it. And anybody that's had to frog back mohair knows that it's not the nicest thing to do. I'm just gonna straighten myself up a little bit. I'm slightly on the... Okay, I'm back. I'd gone a bit wonky. thought it was my eyesight. My eyesight's a bit wonky. I get double vision, but yeah, it was just the stand that my phone's in was starting to lean a little bit. So another one that showcased, and again, this was done out of exactly the same idea. I mean, my face is too old for this, but I'm going to show you what it looks like. Again, Nusha tried this on. So my daughter would wear this. So this is the, let me check my notes. This is the Bonbeck hood by Emily Lewis. Oh, I need to get that off. I'm gonna get makeup on it. But it is again another skein of Surrey alpaca and silk with just a plain base like this, and it's a beautiful effect. So we really just wanted to knit these up and just show people what they could look like. Oh, hair's all over the place, needs a cut, badly needs a cut, probably needs some colour in it because these lights are quite bright in the shop at this time of night. So those are all our finished objects, and you can see there's been quite a lot of, and just with really thinking about gift knitting, that's what I'm trying to think about. So before I go on to what's on my needles and just talk about what I'm currently up to, I thought now would be a really good time to talk about the giveaway. And the question that I asked for the giveaway was about what the knitting community means to people. And so many of you responded, and I have to say, reading the comments and the messages, well, some of them actually brought me to tears because they were so heartfelt and meaningful, and so many people sort of said how isolated they might be, or that they didn't have any friends locally they could knit with, or that they were caring for loved ones, or not able to get out and meet people socially particularly, or they were vulnerable themselves and not able to get out, or just so many of them. I genuinely sat and read everyone, and I did respond, I hope, to everybody who's commented on there, because I do appreciate people taking the time to comment. But yeah, some of them were really moving, and what I'm going to try and do is pull off those comments and just capture some of them just as a representative, so there's no sort of one's better than the other. It was just as a representative of what people were saying about the knitting community, because overwhelmingly positive, as you would imagine, but overwhelmingly positive. And I want to capture some of those key words that people were sort of saying. I'm trying to think about how we could do maybe a word cloud, or just pull out sort of the common themes. But the sorts of words that you commonly used was friendship. People saw it as a place of real friendship, even though it was sort of online and remote quite often. And the meeting of kindred spirits came up a lot. I think without fail, people said that it was such a supportive and inspirational environment, which totally agree with. And people talked about positivity, and how it made them feel better to be part of a community, which, my goodness, it would, if we could put it up as a medicine, social prescribing, for example, why wouldn't you encourage people to join this community? But the other side of it as well, in terms of people that were talking about being quite lonely or quite isolated or living alone, was that they saw it as solace, which I found really sort of moving. And people talked about it providing them with company, and it felt like several people said that just watching podcasts like mine and others was just like sitting down with a friend and being able to knit and just feeling calm and relaxed. And people described it as caring and a safe place and a kind place. And I think all of us knitters, generally, I meet so many in the shop, and we have our Stitchers meet up, which is, so many people come along to now. And I generally sort of could echo all of those thoughts, whether it's online or whether it's in person. I think knitters as a community are all of those things, and I just, as I said, generally I was moved by a lot of the comments, and thank you for the lovely comments about the podcast too. I didn't put it up there for people to pat me on the back at all. It was more about what it does for you, rather than trying to generate any praise for myself. But thank you for those that did say some lovely things about this podcast, and I'm glad for some of you that it brings you some comfort and it brings you some socialisation, and that you just enjoy me rabbiting on. I did like one person called it the Knitterhood, Basia, I think you're called, and International Knitterhood, and I just loved that phrase, and I might nick that one. I really loved it. Anyway, without further ado, this was the prize, if you remember, if I hold it up, was these 3 yarns from Blacker Yarns. So this was the prize, and I'm going to show you now the process. So watch this little tiny video clip, and you will see the winner be picked randomly from all those comments. Melanie Woodward 2765. Melanie, if you wouldn't mind direct messaging me or emailing me, and I'll pop the email here along here, and it will be in my notes with your address and contact details, and we will get this off in the post to you. And thank you for your comments. Melanie talked about the community being an inclusive place to come, and as I said, this was randomly picked, but I could have picked any one of those comments, and I think all of us would agree that it was just to demonstrate what a great community we are. Aren't we great, us knitters, aren't we? Are we really nice people, I think, on the whole? I've rarely found one that I couldn't just sit down and have coffee and a chat with over my knitting. So yeah, I wanted to just cover that off. On to what's under construction, or what's on my needles. I talked about a palette cleanser, and I've been knitting so many socks for Sock Club. I just fancied knitting myself a vanilla sock, but like a Christmas one. And so these, I've been knitting these. I'm on the second one now. So this is just a vanilla sock. I've done on the leg and also the top here. I've done a 3x1 rib because I quite like the rib to help it fit, and it's just a normal heel flap and gusset. And this was again a Lay Family Yarn set, which was their Christmas set, and it contained the sort of variegated yarn and then 4 10-gram yarn colours, which is the dark green, the red, white and lime. And I just thought they were quite festive, and I've just really enjoyed. If you know, sometimes you just want to pick up something, don't you, that's not going to tax your brain, especially as my brain's been quite taxed in the last that sounded quite Cornish the way I said that, quite taxed, in the last 10 to 15 days with all the issues that we've had and just getting prepped for Christmas. So it was just really nice to just sit and just enjoy knitting these, and they will be, the second one will be finished by the end of this week, I think, so I will have them for Christmas. So they're my knit for me, so I've really enjoyed doing those. My other knit that I've literally just started to cast on, and this was a point in me just saying that I'm sort of I enjoyed knitting on those socks because it was just like I didn't have to think about them. I know the pattern, don't have to look at a pattern, just played with the yarn. So we have got these 2 yarns in from Ginger Pink Knits, which will be going live after Christmas. We won't be putting these kits up before Christmas. And when I saw Kerry at Unravel in September, she had the pressed flower shawl made up out of these 2 colours, and I fell in love with it and ordered some kits, which, as I said, we've got in the shop, but they're not available yet. We'll wait until January. So I thought, well, I'll knit up a shawl, and then I started thinking, I thought, oh, we've got pressed flower shawl already in terms of another yarn and another colourway. Shall I knit it up in something else, knit this yarn up into something else? And I started, I lost a few hours on Ravelry looking through my favourites, and I found I had 14 pages of shawls to look through, plus all the ones that I hadn't seen before. And I was looking through, you know, I did the filters, looked at the weight of yarn, the meterage of yarn that I had, how many colours I had. And then I did pick up a shawl. I decided on a pattern which was mosaic knitting, lovely pattern, really loved it. And I started knitting it, and I had to concentrate so much on the pattern. I knitted about that much, probably about 5-6 centimetres of it, and thought, you know what, this is taxing my brain too much, and I really don't need this at this time of year. It was just, yeah, I wasn't enjoying it, I suppose, but just because it was taxing my brain too much. It wasn't that there was anything wrong with the pattern, and I will knit the pattern when I've got better headspace. So I thought, no, you know what, I'm going to go back and do the pressed flower shawl, the original concept, because I've knitted that twice before. It looked lovely in Kerry's sample at Unravel, so I've cast it on. Ooh. So literally just cast it on. I don't know if you can see that very clearly. Ooh. With these two colours, and it's quite subtle, you know, the contrast is not huge, but I like that. I quite like the neutrality of it, and it was literally like slipping on a comfy pair of slippers because it was just like, oh yeah, I remember the rhythm of this pattern. I don't really have to look at it, I can remember it, and it's probably just what I needed for my tired little brain at the moment. So I will press on with that so that we've got the sample ready for when we release the kits online. Now the other, partly my decision making around this was the other thing that I've started working on is the William sweater by Johanna Gayrish. And I talked about this in my last podcast, and it is an Aran weight sweater, cabled sweater, big cables, and you knit it that way and then you swivel it. So this is the back, so it's not I can't show you sort of what it looks like around your neck, but you sort of put it that way and then you stretch it down. It's meant to be oversized, so it's meant to have 10 to 12 inches of positive ease. And then once you've done the front, where you actually shape around the neck, so this is the back, and that's where the shoulders start, there and there. You then pick up your stitches here and knit the neckband, and on the bottom to knit the the rib around your bottom, the bottom of your sweater, and then you knit the sleeves in exactly the same way. So you knit them upright and then swivel them and join them together. So lots of seaming, which I haven't done for ages. So you actually mattress stitch it together. So this pattern, I mean, it looks simple, doesn't it? It's just big, blooming big cables. But my goodness, I must have ripped this pattern out. I must have restarted it 4 or 5 times. And I got so frustrated with it that I very nearly abandoned it. If I hadn't committed to knitting it for the shop for a sample, I probably would have, it would be sitting in the naughty corner at the moment, and me thinking I'm really not going to finish that and I'm going to rip it out, because I haven't enjoyed it. And it's partly the way the pattern's written. I really don't like the way the pattern's written. It sort of jumps from place to place, and there's lots of information that you need to take with you and apply to the chart without it being on the chart. It's one of those patterns where you're flipping backwards and forwards and thinking, oh God, it said that you had to do this or you had to do this, and I made so many silly little mistakes that I've not enjoyed it. And I will persevere. As I said earlier in my video, I am a completer finisher, so I won't let it sort of get to me or beat me. But if you are thinking of knitting it, just be really conscious that there is a lot of toing and froing. It's not as simple as just doing these cables. There's a lot of things to do with the shaping and little instructions that sit in other parts of the pattern. And to me, sorry Johanna, but I just didn't think it was an easy pattern to follow at all. So yeah, that was partly again why the shawl, when I started the shawl and I was sort of doing that William sweater as well, and I started that shawl, I thought, good, no, this is too much. I just need, because I was just like, which one shall I knit at the moment? And it was just like, I'm really not enjoying that one, so I'm not going to do another one that I'm like, I don't want to pick that up, because I just want to be able to pick up my knitting and enjoy it, even if it's just sample knitting for the shop and it's not for me. I just want to get something that I enjoy. I don't mind doing a complicated pattern, don't get me wrong, but I don't want everyone to be complicated. So that's why those socks as well were such a nice palette cleanser, because it was just like, oh, I can relax into this, don't have to think, I can just do it and you know, just listen to a podcast or whatever. So those are the things that are under construction. I will persevere with them and try and finish them. We just wanted to sort of remind people our Knitalong starts on the 29th of December at 4 p.m. London time. If you look at my previous video, you will see all the details about that. We have a very tiny few kits left. If anybody wanted a kit from us, do go onto our website and have a look at the kits. I will put a picture in of the 3 kits that we've got. I think we've got 2 or 3 of each colourway left, but that's all we have got left. But the cowl does, the Knitalong does start, and it's a colourwork cowl, and it's done in sort of different sections, which you can mix and match depending on your level of ability. But all the information is there for you. You just need to go online and have a look at a recent Instagram post, and if you're on our newsletter list, I'll be sending out a newsletter soon, giving everybody the details of it if they want to use their own stash, because even if you haven't had a kit from us, if you're using your own stash, we just want as many of you to take part as possible. So it's that sort of time between Christmas and New Year where it would be nice, and particularly sort of in light of those comments that I mentioned earlier, because I'm very conscious that, you know, there's a lot of, you know, you watch all these vlogmases and everybody's life seems sort of rose tinted, doesn't it? And it's all about family and going out and socializing, and I'm very, very conscious that it's not like that for everybody. And for some people, Christmas is a really lonely, and it accentuates the lonely time, and also a time when they miss loved ones, or they can't get to meet up with people, or they just don't have people to meet up with. So if that's you and you want to see some friendly faces over the sort of holiday season, then join us on YouTube live at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on the 29th, where we'll be launching the cowl. Just come along, bring your knitting, just listen along as we chat together, and Fran will be joining me again, as well as Nikki from Comfort Road Knits, who's designed the pattern. The pattern will be released on Ravelry 2 to 3 days before we go live with our knit along. So if you are going to join along, keep your eyes out on Ravelry. I will put up an Instagram post saying that it's live as well, with a link to it, so that people can get it. Yeah, so that's the knit along. I'm nearly there, I think. Next year I do plan to, in my plan, I do want to go out and do more walks. I've got a couple ready to show you that I have done, but just life has been quite busy, and with this really dark sort of short days, then it's quite difficult to get out and film. But I will be getting out. I've got some days planned in to get out and go on some walks in different places around Cornwall, so I'll do some filming so that I can share those with you over some of my YouTube videos, because I know a lot of you do enjoy my meanders around Cornwall, and I've missed them too. I've not managed to get out and do them, and I'm actually missing them. So yeah, my knitting and I will be going on walks again very, very soon. So and I will share a walk with you early in the new year when I sort of have done some editing of the last couple of things that I've done. I just wanted to share a couple of lovely, really unique kits as well that we've got in the shop. just because they're so beautiful and I just think they're worth sharing. So you've probably heard me mention Camel's Yarn, which was a company, some of you might have had their yarn before, or even got their advent calendar this year. But Camel's Yarn have been one of the yarns that we've stocked from early days. We love the yarn from Camel's Yarn, and if anybody were to ask me what our best seller in the shop is, it's always Hannah's yarn when we've got it in. And we have a couple of bespoke kits or sets as well. So this one here is our Cornish coastal set, which this yarn, this colourway is Falmouth Bay, which is our exclusive colourway, and also the winter in Cornwall. So this is the beaches of Cornwall in the winter. So these two are unique to us. You won't get them anywhere else. We've put them together into this lovely little kit. I think they go beautifully together. These are 4-ply sock yarn, so 75% merino and 25% nylon, and both skeins are 425 metres each, so you get 850 metres, plenty for a shawl, for example, or you can split them up and use them separately. But I just thought I'd share those with you. That's Hannah's label there. And the other thing that she did for us, every year we ask her to do us a Christmas special yarn as a gift set, and I send her some photos as an inspiration, and then we agree on what that's going to look like. And this year is this one, and it's, I'll hold it up really close. So this is called, just check what we called it in the end, Mousel Light. So anybody who knows anything about Cornwall might have heard of the small village called Mousel, which is down on the coast. And Mousel is famous for its Christmas lights. They have beautiful, beautiful sort of Christmas displays every year. And Mousel is also famous because they had a terrible lifeboat disaster a number of years ago, where the Solomon Brown, which was a lifeboat which left Mousel to rescue a ship that got into distress around Christmas time, unfortunately perished. Everybody perished. And so it's a very emotive place in Cornwall. And so I asked Hannah to dye these up. They're a really dark navy, and these flashes are just the lights that you see if you're at sea at Mousel. And then we've got a complimentary mini skein. So I just thought I would show you those beautiful bespoke colours, which are ours. We have got limited stock of them. Just ordered a load more of these because we sold out really quickly on these ones. But we have got limited stock. But if you like them and you want more, you can always let me know, and I can ask Hannah to dye me up a whole load more, which is the sort of working relationship we've got. Anyway, this is probably my last video before Christmas, just because things are quite busy. I may try and get in another one, but if I don't, I just wanted to wish everybody a peaceful and happy festive break. Whether you celebrate Christmas or whether you celebrate the holidays in any other way, I just really wanted to say thank you to everybody for being such a lovely community, being so supportive of me and my little podcast here. And I'm really looking forward to connecting with you and talking to you in 2024, and all the things that we might be able to do together wherever you are in the world. So have a peaceful, happy and knitting filled festive break, and see you in 2024.